Oh, welcome to the Sharpe Show. So happy to have you with me this evening, right at 8 p.m. on the East Coast. Yes, it is Monday, so we do it a little bit later on Monday, 8 p.m. And I wasn't sure what I wanted to do this show on tonight. Things weren't really popping the way I wanted them to pop, not as good as I wanted them to be. So I was thinking, what in the world should this show on? And I thought, you know what? This weekend, I did see something that was kind of interesting. I did see this weekend, it was Fareed Zakaria. Fareed Zakaria did something which I thought was kind of interesting. What did he do? He seemed to agree with Trump. Now you might go, so what? Who cares? Well, he's mainstream CNN establishment. Now, don't get me wrong. He's very savvy and very smart. Fareed is. And he very often gets a lot of facts right. That's true. He's very often good with the facts. But he almost always comes back with the answer being, well, establishment stuff, right? He has, people, the Council from Foreign Relations, the kind of people he has on his show. Those are the types of people he has on the show and who give the answers on how we should fix things. Guys like that. Heavy establishment is the norm. For him to in any way say Trump could easily, Trump could absolutely be somehow right is something they don't often do. And that's why usually it would be, here's why Trump is bad. The orange man is bad. I'm going to ignore anything that he might do that's good. Nope, I'm just going to give him the bad stuff. He didn't, though. And I think he was honest in a lot of stuff. And I want to bring it up and talk about what's going to happen in the Middle East afterwards. And of course, a lot of I told you so's, because that tends to be what I do. It's true. He's saying stuff that I've been saying for months. And if you've been paying attention, you've heard me say these things for months. And now this goes to what I love. Now the mainstream saying it. They're a little bit behind me. It's fine. It's fine. A little bit behind me. Let's pull this up so you'll see and you'll understand what I'm talking about and where he's going. All right. Let's see if I grab Mr. Zakaria, Fareed himself. All right.
First, here's my take. President Trump's instinct for disruption and tendency to shoot from the hip has caused chaos, opposition, and abrupt reversals. But
So why does he have to start that way? I tell you all the time. They always start with insults. Don't I always say that? They always start with insults. So he's actually going to say some positive things about Trump, but you can't start that way. You have to start orange man bad. Otherwise, no one on CNN will listen. I wish I was joking. Literally, if he just started saying, Trump's doing something good, you would just watch the insults. How do I know that? Because sometimes the other guy who comes up in the mornings, which is Saturday mornings, Fareed is Sunday mornings. Sunday morning is a guy named Michael Smerconish. I often watch his show also. He will sometimes, Michael Smerconish is the fairest guy on CNN. And I mean that honestly, clearly. If you want to watch someone who at least gets close to fair, that's your guy. He's the closest guy to fair on CNN that exists. He's the only guy, and I mean the only guy, who in the same week guest hosted a show on both Fox and on CNN in the same week. Yes, because he's fair, right? And he leans left, but he's fair. So Smerconish is fair, and Smerconish will do it. He'll sometimes go, look, Trump's right in this one. And the hate he gets. He does a live show, Smerconish does, and he takes on people, from the internet. He just takes like Twitter, Facebook, and if he says anything that doesn't immediately start orange man bad, they roast him. And he actually shows, it's like, yeah, you guys are mad again. So Fareed has said, oh, no. I'm starting the right way. I may say something nice, but let us never forget orange man bad. So keep listening. That's why he starts that way. So, all right.
President Trump's instinct for disruption and tendency to shoot from the hip has caused chaos, opposition, and abrupt reversals. But this week, Trump reminded us that sometimes his willingness to take risks and think outside the box can shake up tired old ways. In Saudi Arabia, he surprised everyone by meeting with Syria's new leader, a former jihadi, and announcing that he would remove all U.S. sanctions on the country. He is also...
Now, if you remember, I brought this up, a week and a half ago? Yes, because it was a big deal. This is something that people don't do, right? They don't do this stuff, right? But Trump says, okay, fine, I'll shake this guy's hand. Why? And here's where people get mad. They say it's wrong. And boy, the neocons hated this. Neocons hated this. They hate that he shook hands with the bad guy. They hate that he treated him nicely. But I told you guys this 1,000 times. Trump isn't really a Republican. He's a Trumpist, whatever that is. That's what he actually is. He's a Trumpist. He's not actually a Republican. He's not actually a neocon. He's whatever he thinks will move himself forward in whatever way he wants to. That's what he is, right? That's the issue. So the point here being, he's actually saying, well, he's shocked everybody. Didn't shock me. When Trump wants something from you, he talks nice to you if you talk nice to him because he wants the thing. He's transactional, which again can be a problem. Fareed's right. That can be a problem. But in this case, it's probably a benefit. He's like, I don't care. Excuse me. I'm absolutely saying I don't care. It's transactional. So if I got to be nice to this guy to get my deal, I'm going to be nice to him. I don't care what he did. If I got to be mean and insult him, I'll insult him. I'll be mean. Doesn't matter. I'll do what it takes for me to get what I want. That's kind of how he thinks. So in any case.
Suggested repeatedly that his administration is willing to make a new nuclear deal with Iran. If so, he could bring a new level of peace and stability to the Middle East.
This is what I was saying last week, remember? Yeah, I was saying this last week. Absolutely. He could. Now, I hope he does. Now, is he bringing it to the Middle East because he cares about Palestinians or he cares about the Israelis or he cares about the Iranians? I don't think so. And that will be the attack. The Democrats or people who hate Trump will attack him saying, it's because he wants his Trump Tower or whatever. Maybe. I'm telling you, I don't care. Maybe it's true. Maybe Trump just wants to build a bunch of Trump towers in the Middle East. He wants to make the Gaza thing. Maybe. That's fine. I don't care. If we had anybody else right now in the White House, there's no attempt at peace. There's no attempt. He's fighting his own neocons to try to make this thing happen. Why? He probably does want a Nobel Peace Prize, or he does want whatever Trump towers in Dubai, whatever. I don't care. Solve the problem, stop the war, let him have his tower, let him have his peace. I don't care. I don't care at all. Absolutely, I don't care.
Trump's newfound interest in an Iran deal is ironic, verging on bizarre. After all, he was the one who pulled the U.S. out of the original Iran nuclear deal.
True.
Even though most serious observers, including U.S. intelligence agencies, believed that Iran had been adhering to the terms of the deal.
True.
This is one more example of Donald Trump creating a problem, reversing himself, and then proudly announcing to the world that he has brilliantly reset the situation.
He's not wrong.
But whatever the past, events have transpired that could make for a better deal today than before.
Also true.
The two fundamental shifts that are most...
The weird part is, I didn't like him pulling out of the deal at all. I didn't. But to Fareed's point, that gamble might have paid off. And the reason is, he might be able to get a better deal now. And Fareed's going to talk about that. This actually, I was against him pulling out of that deal. I was like, why are you pulling it? Why are you messing with the ratings? Leave him alone. That's what I was thinking. And then, but this may actually be a better deal now. It's possible that it could work. Now, again, the neocons and the establishment in the swamp could absolutely scuttle this. This is why he brought Witkoff in. Some of you might be saying, why did he bring Witkoff in? Because Witkoff is on his own wealthy, doesn't care about the establishment guys, and is 100% loyal to Trump. Well, Larry, that's Trump's problem. He wants loyal people. True. You're right. And people will get mad at him. He picks loyalty over competence. Sometimes accurate. That could be true. Not in the case of Witkoff. In the case of Witkoff is actually a very talented deal maker. In this case, Witkoff is both talented and loyal. I wish all of the people were that way. But in this case, it's absolutely true. Witkoff is both talented and loyal. Now, he needs that because the neocons will try to sabotage Witkoff. They'll try to sabotage it. They already have. They don't want peace. You saw the letter they sent. The Republicans in the Senate were like, don't make peace with Iran. Don't do it. We want to bomb them and stuff. So, yes, absolutely. In this case, he wasn't wrong.
What's relevant here are Iran's weakness and Saudi Arabia's strength.
Correct.
Iran is in worse shape than it has been in a generation. Decades of chronic mismanagement of the economy, exacerbated by sanctions, massive corruption, and a brutal dictatorship have caused deep.
But all of that's been true before, right? All of that he just said has been true for years. What's the special thing that happened here? And this is the weird thing, right? And I'm going to walk down a road, you'll see the odd part. What's really different that hasn't always been true? The part I was going to bring up right now.
Public dissatisfaction with the Islamic regime. Add to that last year's stunningly successful Israeli assaults on Hezbollah and Iran's own air defenses.
Not just that, add Syria and add Russia stuck in Ukraine. So now Russia can't help Syria. Russia can't help Iran. Israel trashed Iran. So I know people are going to say, particularly if you're on the right, you're going to go, Larry, you don't understand. Trump was doing it so that bad things would happen with Iran. That wasn't the issue. The issue was October 7th. When that happened at that time, which was terrible timing for Iran, right? Terrible. If the Iranians actually decided when that was going to happen, holy crap, was that stupid. I don't know if they did or not. I don't know if Hamas decided and then said, hey, we're doing it, support us. I don't know who decided that. I guess we'll find out in the coming years. But if the Iranians actually decided on that date and time, God, that was stupid. Because once that happened, Russia couldn't help them. Syria was a joke. The Turks saw it all, as I told you they did, and walked right in. Syria's gone, Russia's out of the picture, and the Israelis bombed the hell out of Iran and trashed them. Iran now is in big trouble. So now they're going to kind of be like, okay, what deal would you like? Perfect, right? Perfect. Whatever you want. So that's what actually happened. It wasn't that Trump was so amazingly great or awesome. I mean, I'm glad he's doing it. Credit for him doing it. But it was October 7th. That actually happened prior to Trump taking office.
Plus, Tehran's closest Arab ally, Syria's Bashar al-Assad's government collapsed, and the primary opposition forces, whom Iranian-backed militias had been fighting for years, became the new government.
Yep.
Put this all together, and Iran is at its weakest point since Saddam Hussein invaded the fledgling Islamic Republic in 1980. Second, Saudi Arabia has been growing in strength, and its foreign policy has been transformed over the last few years.
Also true.
It has negotiated a truce with the Houthis, improved relations with Qatar, and developed better ties with countries like Lebanon and Iraq.
And here's the weird part. They're also a brutal dictatorship, just like Iran is. They also are. And they killed that guy, that guy. Yep. Bad, horrible, totally. They killed that guy. And Trump's like, I want a deal. So you're my buddy. A lot of people might not have done that. Now, don't get me wrong. Biden did too. Biden kissed this guy's butt too, right? We always kiss the Saudis' butt. But Harris may have been that. Who knows? I don't know. But for sure, Trump's like, okay, I want a deal. So you're my buddy. I know you kill people. That's how Trump thinks. That's the transactional piece that in this case might actually be valuable, right? And that's the crazy part. Let me grab a couple of these if I can. Mike Wells in the house. He says, of course they agree. They always should have. No, they shouldn't. They're CNN. They're CNN. They go out of their, they made their cash on being Orange Man bad for years. So no, they shouldn't. They should find a reason to say he's bad. That's what that's what most of it. If you watch out, see, that's your problem. Like, you don't watch CNN. If you watch outside of Fareed, it is just Orange Man. They don't talk about this. Oh, they talk about the plane. See, he's corrupt because plane. That's it. The plane's all that matters. So you are absolutely incorrect. They should not do this. They never do. He's the exception. And sometimes Smirkanish. He's the exception. He goes on to say, Trump's first term created Abraham Accords. now pivotal in India-Pakistan ceasefire. China's talking about Taiwan. Iran is at negotiation table. Okay, another one. Okay, it's another one. All right, hold on. Let me cover these. India-Pakistan. India and Pakistan both say Trump is not involved at all. They both say that's not true, that Trump is lying about that he's just saying it because he opened his mouth that now he's part of it. India and Pakistan both saying he's not. I don't know if that's true, but I'm telling you what they're saying. So, yeah. I agree with you on the China-Taiwan piece. That's true. That's accurate. Yep. Houthis also deal table like Hamas. True, because he's talking to them, as he should. I'm with you. He talked directly to Hamas. I mentioned that last week. I mentioned it. Yes. He says strong leaders make the world more peaceful and stable. It isn't strength. It's about personality. It is about personality, dude. He is focused. You can be as strong as you want. What if he was strong and just wanted to keep bombing the Houthis? He's not. He said, I'm going to stop. I'm going to talk to him. He's focused on peace. That's why. It's not strength. He could say, I'm strong, crush Iran, keep attacking them. He could mount an invasion against. He could have the Israelis attack her. You can be strong and not be focused. He's focused on peace, and that is his personality. Because you know this. All the neocons around him are like, don't you dare negotiate with Iran. Don't you dare do it. No. Of course they're saying that. Democrats like, don't talk to the Saudis. Only Biden can talk to the Saudis. You can't. So it is absolutely about personality, not about strength. You can be strong and still have war. You can be strong, and a lot of guys have been strong and yelled and screamed. Strong and be going to Afghanistan. You can be strong and you got to be focused on peace. And right now, Trump, and again, I told you guys all this last year. I said he's going to be focused on foreign policy this year. He's going to let everybody else just go, right? I know people are mad. What about the EpiPen files? You know what EpiPen stands for? What about those things? He's like, that's domestic stuff. You guys handle that. Fix my big bill, whatever it is. Big bill. You guys fix that. I'm going to go focus on this stuff. I knew he would, and he is right now. It is because of focus, Mike, not because of strength. He could be strong and be doing the wrong things. He could be, but he's not. It's focus. It's more important. Anyway, let me keep going down here if I can. Shelley says, I think CNN is catching on to their business model failures. Oh, I wish that was true, Shelley. I wish that was true. And it does a couple things decently. They've at least tried. It hasn't been great, but you can notice if you pay attention to CNN, I know most of you don't, it's punishment, but I do. They do try to at least have a token Republican on their panels at night. Now you might go, shouldn't they always? To Mike's point, shouldn't they? They're CNN. They haven't. They haven't. So at least now they're doing that. There's like one token Republican and then like 9 Democrats, which are usually women with 3 names. No, it's MSNBC. MSNBC, every woman has 3 names. And then they just yell at them. But you know what? Maybe baby steps. Baby steps. They've made a move. I'll give them that. I want to reward good behavior, Shelley. I think you're right. I stand corrected. I think maybe they are moving towards that. Maybe they are. So yes. All right. Lunatic says, a melanated immigrant with a fake accent program is being fair. That is great. Uncalled for, Lunatic. It does not matter if he's melanated. It does not matter if he's an immigrant. It doesn't matter what his accent is. Is he being fair or not? That's the issue. And Smirkanish is not melanated, nor an immigrant, nor a fake accent. He's a guy from Philly, white guy from Philly. He's probably the most fair, I think, on CNN. I'm not saying that Fareed Zakaria is fair or not. I'm saying he's doing a good job with this one, at least, relative to others on CNN. And you might go, Larry, why do I care about CNN? Because all these people vote. The people who watch CNN, they vote. They do. And if you want to change voters, which I care about, and I don't think you don't, I do. I care about voters. If you're going to change them, you have to know what they're thinking. And that's why I watch this stuff, because I have to know what they're thinking. That's the issue. So hope that makes sense. Missy says, highlight your question or comment for Larry to read live with a super chat. It moves you to first line. It does. You are right. In fact, what else you can do is you can click the button known as Lima, India, Kilo, Echo, if you would like to. That's also good. Click the button known as like. That will be awesome. If you want to share this, please do so. Repost this, please do so. It helps tremendously. The button that is like, that button, when you click it, in fact, if you're on Facebook, click one of the other buttons, like the love or the hug or the something button. I don't care. Pick another button. When you click those buttons, then Mr. Rhythm, Al Gore Rhythm, likes this, and he goes, oh, let me share this out to other people. So please do that. Please click it. It does matter. You can also follow me. Helps. Follow me on Rumble if you want to, or X, or Facebook, all of them. Sharpe YouTube is my favorite because that's where probably most of the chatter goes to. So that's a good one too. But when you subscribe on on Sharpe YouTube, make sure you click all notifications. If you don't click that, you don't get the notifications. So please do that. You know, also super chat me if you want to, or rant me on Rumble. Either of those are great. And a membership. Oh my God, I cannot tell you how much membership matters. Membership matters. Please, if you can, click that join button. Become a member on YouTube, Sharpe YouTube, $29 per month. Larry, that's how much a cup of coffee is. Yes, I'm not having a coffee today. I'm just having water, no coffee tonight. A little bit late for me, but I might still have coffee afterwards. But see, I've given up a cup. You can too for 1 month and you're good. Or you can become a member on Rumble if you want to also by clicking subscribe during the live. But no matter what, click the button known as like. It does matter. So we grab one more of these before I go. Mike goes, oh, Mike got a lot to say about this one. He says, Iran trained and planned 10. If they did, Mike, that was dumb of them. That was stupid. That was stupid. That they should not have done. I'm not saying you're wrong. I don't remember who planned what. I'm just saying that was dumb. That is what ignited all of this. That ignited the downfall. That is what ignited the downfall. That was a bad plan. They didn't. If they thought they were taking advantage of a weak bite, they just put the nails in their own coffin. That was silly. If again, I don't remember. I believe you. If you said it, I believe you. It was a terrible idea. Terrible idea. Any case, but maybe you're right.
Mohammed bin Salman has realized that to achieve his primary dream, the modernization of Saudi Arabia, he needs stability in the region.
True.
The most remarkable sign of this has been the growing rapprochement between Saudi Arabia and Iran, with officials of the two countries meeting with some regularity. Saudi officials now explicitly support a new Iran nuclear deal. The obstacle to the deal is what it has always been, Bibi Netanyahu.
And this part is the funny part. Bibi was in a very good spot. He is no longer. And why is he no longer? Because you are watching here in America, his popularity, the Israeli government, his government specifically, become more and more unpopular in America. The battle in Gaza is becoming more and more unpopular, and he's becoming more and more unpopular. And Trump's ignoring him now. A lot more than he used, not less than he's ignoring him a lot more than he used to, because he's figured something out. Trump thought, well, if I do the right thing by Bibi and I give him this Gaza thing, I can get peace. I'm telling you, Trump is a deal maker. That's how he thinks. He's like, I'll give him this Gaza thing. I'm not going to say anything about it. I'm going to do this, whatever. Mara Gaza, whatever he's going to call that place. He's going to make his the great place he's going to make Gaza, whatever. I'll give you that. You can bomb it until whatever you want. It's fine. I'm going to leave you alone. But now let me have my peace. And Netanyahu's like, no, I'm getting Gaza and you ain't getting peace. And Trump was like, oh, well, then I'm ignoring you then because I want my peace. That's literally happening. I wish it was more detailed than that. I wish there was something that was more important or crazy. No, it's that simple. Trump was like, I'll give you this. I'm going to shut up. Do what you got to do. I'll even act like things are cool. I'm going to make this. I'm going to make a Trump Tower, Gaza, whatever. Now let me have my peace with Iran. And Netanyahu was like, no, you can't have that. He's like, okay, I'm ignoring you then. And that's what's happening. He's literally ignoring him and just doing stuff. Now, the problem now is Republicans love him. Sorry, that's wrong. The neocons love him. Not all Republicans love Netanyahu. That's not true. The neocons love him. They think he's the best guy in the world. Bomb them all. All good. Don't stop bombing. Keep going. They love him. That whole group is like, Trump, don't do this. Don't do this. Don't do peace. We don't want peace. We want to keep bombing people. Netanyahu is the guy who wants to bomb everybody. This is a real issue. We're going to see who wins this.
Increasingly, his obstinacy does not find support from Saudi Arabia or other Gulf states. Mm-hmm. Why? Perhaps they're less wary of Iran because of its weakened state,
It's part of it,
Perhaps
I think.
because Netanyahu's ferocious war in Gaza has made
Part
it
of it,
harder
too.
for them to back anything he advocates.
That's part.
And perhaps because they realize that such a deal is in fact the best way to contain the dangers of nuclear proliferation in the region.
That's accurate. That I've been saying this for years. At least 10 years I've been saying this. Leave Iran alone. They'll become our trading partner. Larry, how you know that they're our enemy? That's neocon horseshit. That's not true at all. That's not true. The government doesn't like us. That's true. The people don't care. People actually like Americans. Have you met Iranians? I have. Have you met Persians? I have. They love America. The people like America and Americans. The governments don't like each other. That's it. Leave them alone. Just leave them alone. They will become our trading partner. And when they do, that is what creates an actual revolution? A powerful middle class. Let them have a powerful middle class. They'll revolt there on their own. They'll fix their own country. Let them have a powerful middle class. If we would have left them alone like 30 years ago, they'd already be our ally. They'd already be our ally. This would not even be a problem. So make a peace, leave them alone. This idea of they're coming, this is the same garbage from they hate us for our freedoms. Insanely stupid neocon stuff. None of that's true. Which is funny. The neocons, when it comes to foreign policy, since Reagan, after Reagan, have always been wrong. And they still think they're right. And they have always been wrong, except for Reagan. And Reagan was the exception. Neocons still think it's 1983. They haven't figured out it's not. They think it's 1984, maybe. They think it's that. Because Reagan was pretty good with his foreign policy. He got a lot of good stuff done. Not tear down the wall, amazing, right? Neocons back in the 80s got a decent amount right. Right? A decent amount right. Now, they're always wrong. Every time, 100% wrong. They're never right. And they just keep going. Everything they do fails. Everything they do just builds the military-industrial complex. Everything they do just makes people hate us more. Everything they do just puts us more in debt. And neocons still run shit. And they still keep going. They never learn. And they say the same stuff again and again and again. I get it. You love Reagan. He was my first commander-in-chief. I'm not mad at you for that. He did a lot of good things. Some things not so good. But he did a lot of good things too. I get it. Those days are over, neocons. It's not 1985. It's not. 88. It's not. It's none of those. Shit doesn't work anymore. They keep going, though.
Additionally, one of the compromises being mooted, a regional consortium that would enrich uranium, could be a helpful model that would pave the way for Saudi Arabia's own plan to have a civilian nuclear program.
Now, you might say, why in the world would Saudi Arabia care about this? Because they know that eventually that oil is going to run out. That's it. What makes Saudi Arabia anything? It's just oil. That's it. Without oil, Saudi Arabia is, I don't know, Sudan, like they're the same country. If you just take away the oil, that's how bad it is. I mean, that makes the country. And they know that. So what are they going to do? They still have to be active energy. Look, think of yourself. If you were someone who just you had a whole lot of money and no skills, right? You didn't spend much time fixing anything. You didn't spend any time doing anything. You just got a bunch of money because you inherited a bunch of money and you got lots of money. What would you do if you wanted to keep your family strong? You'd probably invest that money. You probably would, because you haven't spent any time, in this fictitious case, you haven't spent any time building any skill sets. You don't have anything except a bunch of cash. You inherited it all. Okay, because again, this is a royal family. So the family inherits tons of money. You got lots of money. What do you do with it? Well, if you're savvy, you invest it. That's what they're doing. And they're seeing, okay, oil's going to go away one of these days. So what are we going to do? Let's invest in other energy. Because once you have an infrastructure to export energy, once you have a mindset to export energy, once you have the brand of exporting energy, why do you care what kind? As long as people buy it, what do you care? So why not nuclear? That's why Saudi's like, okay, we have to build ours also. And that's happening now. And that's MBS. He's the one doing this stuff now. He's like, we're doing this now. That's it. That's what this is all about. That's what it's about.
The challenge for Trump is that his administration is divided on this issue between two camps, realists and neoconservatives. The former seem to include Trump himself and Steve Witkoff, the chief negotiator. On the other side are various Iran hawks, most prominently Marco Rubio, along with a bevy of congressional Republicans.
Of course, Lindsey Graham.
The two sides still seem to be battling, which explains why the administration seems to change its tone and emphasis every few days.
And that was my point I've been saying forever. So many of you who support Trump say, I don't understand. He won the election. He should be doing X, Y, and Z. He's fighting still internally. The swamp didn't go away. Again, does he have more power than most presidents? Absolutely. Can he get more done than most presidents? Absolutely. But he still has to fight the swamp. He must. There's no way around that. You can't. That swamp took decades, if not centuries, to make. That's not going away because one guy wins, right? But is he making a dent? I would say clearly yes. I would say clearly he is making a dent.
The main Iran hawk, of course, is Bibi Netanyahu, who warns that Iran will get a bomb soon unless it is bombed.
And that's been a lie forever.
But it's worth keeping in mind that Netanyahu has been predicting that Iran is months away from getting a nuclear bomb for at least 13 years.
That's accurate.
Actually, he wrote a book in which he claimed Iran was on a relentless path to a nuclear bomb in 1995.
So he said, I'm not joking, 30 years ago that Iran was about to have a bomb. He's been saying they're 5 months away for 30 years. Netanyahu is full of shit. That's how that works. He is now, has always been. Neocons love him when he says that. Yeah, see, you got to get Iran to get a bomb. They're not. That's not a thing. They actually don't want a bomb. I'm not joking. They actually don't want one because if they get close, they're getting invaded. And they know that. They'd have to be able to do it without anyone knowing or having protection, right? Now, North Korea had Chinese protection. They had it. You're not invading North Korea. We tried it once. And what happened? The Chinese came across the border and pushed us out. The Chinese, so North Koreans can do it. We're not doing Pakistan, India, we're not invading them. They got it. But we would invade Iran. And now with Russia stuck fighting Ukraine, Russia ain't going to stop them. And Syria's not a buffer anymore. Iranians are in trouble. If they try to get a bomb, they're getting invaded. And they know that. And the last thing they want to do is lose their power because if they get invaded, that place is falling into, that place will actually be Somalia. That will become Somalia. So, and they know that. They don't want that. So right now, they don't want one. Right? When they might have wanted one back in the day when they thought they could have been protected. They might have. They're not protected. They have zero chance. They do not want anymore. It is the end of them. And they know that. They get one, they're getting invaded. If they get close, they're getting invaded. That's how I know they're not close. That's how I know they're not close. Larry, they're probably 5 months away. Neocon lies, neocon propaganda. They're not. If they were actually 5 months away, if that were real and they were going to do it, they would have been invaded. Turks might have invaded them. Who knows? Russians, maybe Russians. They can't. We would have invaded. We would have paid the Jews to invade. Who cares? Someone's invading. Saudis would have invaded. Someone's invading. We'd have bribed the Iraqis to all of a sudden be on our side again, just thrown them a couple $1 billion and have them go in. Who cares? We would have found the answer. The Afghanis, we already gave the Afghanis how many billions of dollars worth of weapons? Throw them a couple more $1 billion, go invade. Done. Easy day. That's how I know they're not, because they would have been invaded already. There's no way we're going to be like, okay. Even Trump says it. He's like, they cannot have a bomb. That's Trump's only thing now. That's all he's saying. You want to have regular nuclear power? It's fine. No bomb. That's it. That's how I know they're not there. Because Trump would actually have the backing of most of the Middle East, all of Congress, to invade, to actually declare war. He would have the backing to do so. So he would do so. And Lindsey Graham would be giddy. He would be giddy if that would be true. He would buy a brand new dress if he could. Absolutely he would. So let me grab a couple more of these if I can. Shelly, why are you guys attacking Gandhi all of a sudden? I don't understand why Gandhi is celebrated. He slept with young girls and made his father. Okay, let me be clear on Gandhi with a couple of you guys. You lunatics say ambassador about Gandhi. Why are you guys shitting on Gandhi? Anyway, not even talking about it, but anyway, the point being, people should not be judged only by their bad. They should be judged by all rounded. Now, Gandhi slept with young girls, but again, Gandhi was married at 13. at 13. That culture, it's what you do. I'm not saying it's right, but it's like saying, well, George Washington was a terrible president because he owned slaves, or Thomas Jefferson was a bad person because he owned slaves. Now, am I happy to own slaves? No, of course not. But I don't dismiss everything they've done because they own slaves. Why would I do that? When I look at George Washington, most wealthy people in his area own slaves. I can't judge him by today's standards. And in India, where Gandhi was born, he was married at 13. His wife was, I think, 13 or 14 when he got married. They were teenagers. Yes, that's their culture. Remember, he was born in the 1800s. I'm not making that up. He was born in the 1800s in rural India. And you're going to judge him for that? Unfair. Totally unfair to judge him for that. It's not a thing. And why did he make his followers pound salt? Because he wanted to, not because he was mean, because he wanted them to own the salt. The British were taking the salt for themselves, and he wanted his own people to make salt. It was against the law to make salt because the British Empire. I don't know, guys, you're off on this one. You're off on this one. They love him because without Gandhi, there is no culture of peace in India. Not just that, without Gandhi, there probably isn't an India, an independent India when it happened. The India probably has become independent for 20, 30 more years without Gandhi. So yeah, that would be the reason why. It's like saying, well, Washington's garbage. That we wouldn't have been able to become an independent country without Washington. We wouldn't. He owned slaves. That's not a good thing. Owning slaves is way worse than having sex with youngins when that's your culture. Because I think we know Thomas Jefferson had a little bit of a SA, if you know what I'm saying. Anyway, my point being, that's not how you should judge people. So Mike says, India, Pakistan might now say Trump wasn't big, but international media said it was Trump, and British MP wants to nominate Trump for Nobel over it. I hope you're right. I'm telling you what they said. I'm not saying, I don't know that enough to give you a real opinion on that one. I'm telling you what they've been saying recently. So maybe it's true. I'm with you. So, all righty. Mr. Taz says, the children in Gaza are going blind from malnutrition. I have heard that. Infants are dying because the mothers are too starved to produce breast milk. Screw that country. I love to say it, Mr. Taz, but I am on YouTube and I have to play with children's words. Otherwise I get canceled. So yeah, I think your thought process, Mr. Taz, is becoming more and more common. They actually brought up, what's that, Theo Vaughn? Is that right? He's that popular YouTuber. He actually did a whole little monologue on it. On how it was like terrible. He called it a genocide, is what he called it. Yes, I'm on YouTube, so I'm doing baby words. So he called it that publicly. So I think the country is moving in that direction. If you go back a year, that wasn't true. Now, I think the country's moving. And I also think that Trump gets it. And he's like, I don't want to be on the wrong side of this one. So yeah, I think you're right. So Mike S. Bad News says, Biden can beg the Saudis to lower oil prices before an election. I don't know what you mean by that. I'm not sure where that one's going. I don't know. I'm not sure. So, all righty. Let me keep going if I can.
He's asserted that Iran is a messianic, apocalyptic cult, and therefore negotiating with them would be pointless.
Of course, because I have to use that sentence to make they're not human, they're whatever, I can't talk to them. The same garbage as always. Again, more neocon garbage. You should always talk to your enemies, even if you're fighting them. Even if you are in an actual hot war with them, you can still bomb, still fight, and talk. Always talk to your enemies. That's what savvy, smart people do. What neocons do is go, bomb them, you can't talk to them. Oh, they understand this violence. Shit like that, which is absolutely untrue. None of that's ever true. That's just stuff they say so it can validate you treating people like they're not human.
The more prosaic reality is that Iran is run by a bunch of brutish mullahs and corrupt generals who have spent their energies amassing fortunes in this world, not preparing for the next one. They've found it more advantageous to stay months away from a nuclear weapon rather than to cross that line.
Thank you.
They want sanctions relief, not an end of days conflagration.
Correct.
There is a deal to be made with such men, not to become friends, but to serve a common interest of diffusing the dangers of nuclear arms races and bringing stability to a Middle East that has been scarred by generations of war and terror. Donald Trump is uniquely positioned to override Netanyahu's objections.
If you remember what I said when Trump first won the election, I said, I don't know if he can actually make peace in the Middle East, but if anybody can, it's him. And I stand by that. And even Fareed now saying it. Fareed, you're 6 months late, but even you're saying it now. I knew it then. If it can, and maybe it can't be done. Maybe it's impossible. But if it can be done, Trump's the guy. Why? Because he's just transactional. Which I get his complaint earlier. There's truth to that too. Being so transactional does throw people. It does make things awkward, does make things weird. That's true. In this case, I'm with Fareed. I think it works. I'm with Fareed. I think it works in this one. I think it does. And Fareed does not like Trump, clearly, because he made a bunch of insults before he got there. But I think he may be right.
Through the usual Washington battle lines and grab this opportunity.
Yes. Oops.
Subway is the place
Subway
to fill up
is here. I love it. We can talk about Subway too. So I think that was the end of that. But there are commercials on that one. Sorry about that, guys. So, all right. Let me grab through this if I could. All righty. I'll grab a couple more of these. Andrea says, maybe if CNN comes around, maybe we can tone down the TDS. I mean, that would be nice. I would love that if that were true. I hope they could do that, right? I do hope we can do that. The idea of us being able to tone down TDS would be amazing. I hope we can. It is a big deal, and I think it's hurting us. I think it is. I think it's hurting us. So, all right. Gene says, Gruska, oh, thank you. I clicked the care emoji. Here's my first comment. Thank you. Minor Threat says, where's the evidence for that? Was that to me, Minor Threat, or was that to somebody else? If that was to me, please be clear on what you're asking. If it wasn't, all good. It means it's in there somewhere. So, Mr. Taz says, live in Rotterdam. Oh, you live in the Netherlands. Walking the streets, you'd never see Jews out in the open. They live in closed communities and have their own schools. First time I saw one in person was during a pro-Israel rally. Oh, interesting. You know, I live in New York City, very different. Large Jewish communities here. In Brooklyn, a large Hasidic Jewish community in parts of Brooklyn. A smaller one, but also in Queens. But there is some in Queens. And upstate, a couple. Rockland County, large Hasidic Jewish population. Obviously, if you're Hasidic, it's obvious. You can see the clothing and the hats, and you can see everything. So it's obvious that you're Jewish if you're part of the Hasidic community. But I think a lot of people in New York who are Jewish, they wear their Star of David, or that symbol, that life symbol that a lot of Jewish people wear. They wear that. They don't care. A lot of men I see wear a yarmulke. They keep kosher restaurants. New York, not at all, wide open, and nobody cares. Yeah, nobody cares. So yes. All right. Let me see if I can go down here. If I could grab a couple more. John says the U.S. has had a very terrible habit of getting involved, overturning governments in foreign countries, and within no time, that new government is significantly worse. Correct. The neocons are always wrong. Always. They're always wrong. Always wrong. Yes. It's crazy. I don't get it. I don't get it. So, all right. Anyway, Lunatic says Iranian scientists were taken out unalive because they discovered the most efficient nuclear energy ever. Neocons didn't have control, so they killed them. The side Iran. Oh, they said Iran bad on. They said Iran bad on TV. You're not wrong, Lunatic. And they said that the reason was because they were trying to make weapons. But I think you're right. Yeah. And that's my point. This is my point. If we would do that to them, if they were actually close, someone's invading, someone's bombing, something's happening. There's no way we just go, whatever, I guess they got it. There's no way that happens. Never. Gene says, Vietnam was once our enemy. Japan was once our enemy. England was once our enemy. You're right. If we stop bombing them, they won't be our enemies any longer. True. True. It's everywhere. It is so obvious. History teaches us this. Stop bombing people, and they tend to be okay with you over time. It's how it works. It's just how it works. Yes. Victor, how are you, sir? If Trump cuts a peace deal in the Middle East and Ukraine, he could become massively popular. I totally get that. I'm with you. If he starts getting 60+% in the polls, what happens to the media narrative? I am with you, Victor, 100%. And I've said this before. Look, I hope he does it. I hope he does it. I hope he's able to cut a deal in both places. If he's actually able to get that Ukraine deal done, if he's actually able to get a Middle East peace deal done, if he actually does it, and again, he's clearly focused, to Mike's point, he's clearly focused on it, right? He is focused on it. He is trying to get this done. I get it completely. If he gets it done, he'll be massively popular, and I'll be happy to say that. I just want this to happen. I don't care who does it. I don't care who does it. I would have been happy if Biden was, Biden wasn't going to do it, but if you can guarantee that if by some magical, I don't know, Marvel universe, secondary multiverse or something, Biden was actually a good president and he was actually doing this, I'd be saying, Biden, well done. I can't imagine him doing that, but I can't imagine Harris doing it either. I can't imagine either of them doing it. But if Harris had done this, I'd be saying this too. I can't imagine it. But if so, I want it done. I don't care who does it. I don't care who does it. Doesn't matter to me at all. But if that happens, he might become very popular. What happens to the media narrative? Remember, he's still bad. That's the narrative. I hear it all the time. I talk to you about this. And when I say it, I said, well, he's doing this, he's doing that. I'll give you the perfect example, Victor. This is a true story. I'm at an event last Saturday night, just a couple days ago. And a guy asked me, he says, is it better? Is it better off that we have Trump or if we had Harris? And I said, which one's better? I said, well, if I had to choose only two, I said, Trump, I get some change and I might get peace. I wouldn't have got that with Harris. And he got so angry at me. And I want to be clear, these are libertarians. I know. We have left-right issues also. And TDF affects every party. It affects Republicans too, by the way. A little bit differently, but it affects Republicans too. You've seen it in some Republicans, right? But it affects everybody. It affects Democrats more than anybody. They're the most susceptible to TDS is Democrats. But every group can get affected by it, even libertarians. And he got so angry, started saying, so you think it's good to arrest people and send them off to El Salvador? And I said, when did I say that? When did I say that? You just made that up. I didn't say that. You asked which one was better if I have two choices. Well, I'm going to get some peace and I'm going to get some change. I wouldn't have got that with Harris. So what's better? And he just went nuts. Why? Because he's a bad guy. So it doesn't matter. If he were to actually do this, most Americans, to your point, 60%, would say, well done, Trump, nicely done. And a chunk would just go, but he's a bad guy. So he's still evil. Doesn't matter. It's evil. It's wrong. It's wrong. You are finding people now saying they don't want these things done because Trump's doing it. And they're openly saying it. Guys like Sam Cedar, they think it's bad. Why? Because Trump. But isn't the thing good? Trump. Okay, but he's doing the thing, and the guy who says more than anything else is the guy they're beating up. If you see the guys getting beat up, it's Cenk Uygur. For those of you who follow the left at all, you guys know I follow the left also. It's Cenk Uygur. They are beating him up. Why? Because he's going, when the Republicans say yes to the stuff we like, take the win. This is Cenk's. That's his lines, not mine. He goes, take the win. When we're on the same side, take the win. No. Victor, Trump's evil. So it doesn't matter if he's right. In fact, if he's right, then he's wrong. Because he's always wrong. And I know for some people who aren't that concerned about it, don't take it so seriously, it doesn't matter. But to the people who really think that, they believe it. They really believe it. He's bad. So whatever he's saying is wrong. If he says the sky is blue, It's not blue. It's not. Look at it. It's blue. No, he said it's blue. It's not. It's true. So I hope I answered your question at least. So I don't care who does it. I don't care. Phil says, Larry is 5 months away from having a baby. Netanyahu, probably. Yes. And I've been 5 months away for the past 30 years. True. You're absolutely correct. So yeah, so I bring that piece up because again, this is why it's, from what you just talked about, Victor, this is why it's so special that CNN would even say it. They don't usually say that kind of thing, right? They don't at all. So you might say, okay, Larry, is Netanyahu in trouble? Is he? He is. He's in trouble. Doesn't mean he's out. Doesn't mean that. But he is in trouble. If everyone begins to abandon him, he's going to be in trouble. He does not want that. My worry is, as I always say, desperate people do desperate things. What does Netanyahu do? Now, he's had a couple problems. One, he needs, to get what he wants, to totally clear out Gaza. And that's what he wants. And I know a lot of you get mad when I speak like that. You get upset because you can't stand that Gaza is being bombed. You can't stand it. I get it. I'm not mad at you for that. I'm not saying it's a good idea. I'm saying it's going to happen. So let's make it as positive as we can because it's going to happen. Right? You can see it. Trump's not stopping him. Who else is going to stop him? Putin ain't going to stop him. No one's going to stop him. So unless the Israelis themselves stop Netanyahu, it's not stopping. They got to stop him or it's not getting stopped. Now, Trump has not been necessarily openly backing. He's been kind of like whatever, trying to ignore it, trying to move on. If you ask, whenever he gets talked about it, he goes, Netanyahu's in a tough spot. It's challenging. We can make it better. The place is bad. We want to get rid of it because it's bad. So Trump acts like he's doing the Gazans a favor. If you've seen him talk about it, he acts like that. So I know some of you are mad about it. That's happening, right? That's happening. So that's an issue that we have to accept as looking like it's true. However, if the Israelis stop him, then it stops. Otherwise, it doesn't stop. So what happens if he gets in trouble? What does he do? Does he go crazy in Gaza and just start slaughtering things even worse? Does he make a larger invasion of Syria to get the Syrians on board? Does he make an attack into Iran to get them fighting back or something? That will be my worry now. If I'm out here, I'm thinking, what the hell is Netanyahu going to do? Next thing, if you remember, I showed you that conversation that Trump had with the Crown Prince, was it? And then the Syrian leader. And who else stepped in? Erdogan from Turkey. How do you think Netanyahu's feeling when Erdogan is involved? If anyone can stop stuff going on right now in the Middle East, it's the Turks. They have the most powerful army in the Middle East, the most powerful, the largest, the most powerful, the most cash, and they have a leader who just does whatever he wants. If he says we're invading, we're invading. And he's got cash. And he's got a good relationship with both the Russians and the Ukrainians. Why does that matter? Here's an issue that I talked about a couple years back, and I told you why they can't initially get rid, end the Ukraine war, and why the Israelis are in a rush. Once that war ends, Ukraine and Russia war ends, you are going to have tens of thousands of highly trained mercenary troops who know how to fight, who know how to do urban warfare, who know how to use drones, who understand everything, and who aren't going to want to go home to work at a gas station. They're not. Where are you going to put them? Well, the Russians have been thinking about this for a long time. They don't want those men in Russia. You might go, well, they want those men to go back to work. They're not going back to work. They're not going back to work. What are you going to do with them? Russia wants to put them in Africa. Smart move if you're Russian. I agree. You go to Africa. You take all the warlord cash they're going to be pouring at you so you can now win their wars for them so the warlords can win their wars, and you head back to Russia with all that cash. Has it happened before? Yes, it's called Spain. Spain, after their battle to get the Moors out of Spain, all of a sudden had a whole bunch of conquistadors. We're going to do with them. Send them to America. Which is what they did. That's why the Spanish conquered so much in the Americas. They sent all those conquistadors over to America, said, go get their gold, bring it back to Spain, go kill them, don't kill us. We're the new royalty in Spain. That literally happened. Russians are thinking exactly the same thing. What am I do now? All right, put them in there. What if you can't? Where are they going? What if a war is still active? Where are they going? Who can afford to pay these guys? Guy named Erdogan. He can pay them. He can write them checks. He can put them in his military. Tens of thousands of battle-hardened soldiers who know how to use drone warfare with tens of thousands of drones. He can put them any place he wants. Syria, Lebanon, Iran, Kurdistan, Israel, anywhere he wants. Netanyahu don't like that. You don't like that at all. All that's happening right now. And the Iranians are like, to Mike's point, can we just get a break here? Iranians like, what do we got to do here? How can we just get a break? Because we're in the middle of all of this. How do we get a break? Can we just get a break here? And the Iranians are ready to talk. Can we get a break here? And Trump's like, but yes, you can. You can get a break and I get a deal. That's where that's actually going. I know I'm a little bit off, but that's how it's actually working right now. That's what's actually happening. They will tell you other stuff. It's evil Muslims or whatever. That's not a thing. It's literally not a thing. It's not a thing at all. So anyway, let me grab a couple of others if I could. I'm looking over at Rumble. Joel says, can you explain a little more why almost having a nuke is better than actually having one? Okay. If they honestly think you're going to have one, Joel, they'll invade. So if I'm Iran and I honestly, and the Israelis or the Americans, honestly, Saudis, honestly, if I'm almost there, they will either, to Lunatic's point, send some friends over to take me out or send some ordnance over to take me out, or they'll just invade. That's the issue, right? So that's why you want to just have enough to hold on to say, I could do it at one day. Maybe I could, but I don't want to go there unless you have protection, right? North Korea has protection from China. Now, I know people say, well, North Korea hates us or whatever. None of that shit's true either. That's just stories they tell you. The reason why North Korea exists, period, is because we have bases in South Korea. That's the reason. That is the reason. North Korea is a buffer state for China. China does not want American soldiers on their border. North Korea makes sure that doesn't happen. That's why North Korea exists. If we would be smart and abandon our base in South Korea, and if we'd done it years ago, they would have already united. You could bribe Kim Jong-un out in 30 days, say, take your money, take your cash, go buy a villa someplace with all your family and friends in China, go there, unite. How do I know that? That's what happened in Germany. Why did the Russians not want to unite Germany? Because they thought that's going to be now a NATO state on their border. And we said, oh, no, we won't move NATO east. And people said it didn't happen. It's an utter lie. It did happen. It absolutely happened. We're not going to move any further east. The Russians went, good. We're in trouble because Reagan's neocon stuff worked then. That's why neocons still think it works. It doesn't anymore, but it worked against the Soviet Union. They were like, we're broken. Can we get a break here? Let's do this. And we made a deal and completely screwed them over. That's how that worked. So that's why if they honestly thought you were going to have one, it's done. Now, is it better than not actually having one? No. Here's where the bad part is. It's good to not have one, but maybe could, or have one. Almost having one is the worst. And that's not true. That's what Netanyahu's been saying for 30 years. He was lying then. He's lying now. He's been lying for 30 years. So that was always a lie. If they were actually close, that's when we do bad things, right? That's when we start making rules and regulations and do bad things. And the bad things aren't happening yet. I hope that makes sense, Joel. I hope that was clearer in what I was saying. I hope that was. So, all right, let me grab a couple more of these. All right. Lunatic says, Larry, you are being ignorant if you think the caste system was abolished. Who said I said that? I don't know who said I said that. I don't know. That's straw man and Lunatic. I didn't say that. When did I say that? I didn't say that. Maybe somebody said that. I didn't. All right. Let's see. Phil says, if we're going to blame Gandhi for anything, we should blame him for being a lawyer. Truly evil. True. The issue with Gandhi, by the way, is he wanted to be a lawyer, and he believed he was a citizen of the British Empire, and he thought he was special. They let him know, no, you're not. You're not. That's absolutely true. Yes. Andrea says, I think the country is seeing what BB is doing isn't working. Yes. Absolutely true. Yes. Gene says, keep your friends closer, your enemies closer. A Klingon saying. Well, there we go. Klingons are always smart. There we go. I like that. So, all right. Oh, Martha says the Iran 10-7. Yeah, I didn't know that was true. Mike says that's true. Mike tends to pay attention to stuff. So I would bet Mike's, if he's not responding, Mike's probably walking his dog. But if Mike's not walking his dog, he'll probably give you the piece. He tends to, he tends to, have sources for stuff he says, right? He tends that. So he probably has one. That's why I figured he's probably telling the truth. I actually don't know, Minor Threat. I did not know that was true. If Mike says it, it's probably right. I would assume it's correct. So we'll see. If he hears it, he'll show you it if he has it. So yes. She says my mind went to Rotterdam, New York. Yes, mine did not. But yes, I get it. That is, but there is Rotterdam, New York. That's true. Absolutely. Phil says Papa Bush won the Cold War and lost the election 6 months later. Yeah, the problem is we won the Cold War and we lost the peace. Right? That's the problem. We won the war and lost the peace. That's the issue. We should have turned this into a great place, and we didn't. We didn't have enough people. And Bush screwed up, but Clinton was worse. Bush and Clinton together both screwed up the peace. Clinton was worse because Clinton had more time and could have done better. Clinton didn't grow up in that. He was younger. The reason why I think Clinton's worse on this, don't get me wrong, Bush screwed up the peace. Clinton wrecked it. Clinton could have easily repaired it from Bush and didn't have the excuse. Bush grew up as a CIA. Bush grew up with Reagan. So Bush was still in the Cold War mindset. To ask him to change was probably too much to ask of him. I'm not trying to make excuses. I'm just being realistic. It was probably too much to ask of him. But Clinton? Why couldn't he fix it? He didn't grow up in that stuff. So yeah, absolutely. All righty. Let me see if I can grab a couple more of these if I can. Phil says, Amici means friend in Italian, Don in terms of respect. So he was Mr. Friendly in a straight translation. Oh, that's kind of cute. Don Amici. I like that. Mr. Friend. That's good. All right. Let me grab a couple of these if we can. Let me grab. The Liberty Lady says, I can't stand the caucus fighting within the LP. I hate the CLC as much as the MC. Abolish all caucuses. I know. It's what if you remember the show I did about Kennedy and the Maha movement and Casey means, the Maha movement's dealing with the same issues that Libertarian Party is dealing with, which is stupid civil wars, infighting. Now, not that we shouldn't go back and forth with each other and have different issues and concerns. Of course we should. Of course we should, right? Particularly Libertarians, we're always going to be fighting each other, meaning talking. But the problem becomes when now we go, oh, you're not libertarian enough, or you don't believe in the thing I believe in. Now I'm abandoning you and everything about you, and now you're evil. That's the problem. Most libertarians, and you know this, lady, most libertarians, we agree on 80 to 90% of the stuff. There's like 5 or 10% we don't agree with. Maybe 20% at max. At max 20%. And we act like we are enemies that we need to kill each other. Reagan said it. I say it all the time. It's the 80-20 rule. If someone agrees with you 80% of the time, they're an ally, not an enemy. And every libertarian who has been part of the party should at least be an ally. We agree at least 80%. Sometimes we agree 95%, but it's one thing. And now we got to fight to the death. It's insanely stupid. And it destroys our party. I agree. The caucuses, in theory, if the caucuses actually worked at one point, there were actually more of them. And that was in 2016. There were many caucuses. And they all got together because they thought Gary Johnson could get us 5%. And I thought he could. I was on board. I thought Gary Johnson was going to get us 5% in 2016. He got us 3%, which sucks. But there's a lot of turnout. He got 4.5 million votes, which was a lot. That's a lot of votes for libertarians. 4.5 million people voted for Libertarian in 2016. Largest we've ever had. We have not even come close to it since. Right? We've not even come close to it since. So that was like our heyday. At that time, Liberty Lady, when we had one person up front with that chance for us to do something, I mean, now it's 9 years ago now, that's when the caucuses all got together. They were like, we don't care. This guy can get us 5%. We can all move forward. We need that again. If we get that again, you will see us get back together because there'll be that one person who goes, okay, we can get us all together. That's the key. So yes, that's what I'm talking about. Absolutely. So yes. Hirsch for real says Trump should take Gaza out of Bibi's hands. He becomes a hero. How do you do that, Hirsch? I'm not saying you're wrong, but how do you do it without owning the good and the bad? Right? How do you do that without owning the good and the bad? So do you pull it out and then once you pull away from him, do you then give it back to the Gazans? Do you make it an American territory? I mean, how do you, again, not saying you're wrong. I'm saying what's the mechanics of that? I mean, look, Trump is not against just going, I own it now, because he would absolutely do that, right? Totally. Why do you own it? I said so. Therefore, I own it. Executive order. I own Gaza. He's not beyond that. The question is that is that how it works, right? In other words, how does that work? Do all of a sudden people go, okay, fine? I mean, maybe. I guess if he promises to stop bombing people, maybe they go, fine, we'll take it. Okay, fine. Just will you bomb us? He goes, no, I won't bomb you. You have to let me build a couple of Trump towers or something. And the Gazans go, deal. Build some. Stop bombing us. Can we have like food and water? And he'll go, yeah. Can I have like 3 hotels? And they'll go, yeah. You give us food and water. Stop bombing us. Have hotels. I guess that could work in theory. I don't know. I know I'm being kind of flippant, kind of on purpose. It just seems like I have trouble understanding how we actually do that. But I'm not necessarily against it. I get the concept. If it would stop the killing and start the rebuilding. But see, what Trump has said, Hirsch, and if I'm going to take him at his word, if I am, he said the place is terrible. It's all got to, like, they have to get everybody out and then go away and then maybe come back. How are you going to get him out? Right? If I'm Trump and that's my plan is to have Mara Gaza, whatever, if that's actually my plan, I'd rather have Bibi be the bad guy and bomb everybody out. Why would I want to be the bad guy? Let Bibi bomb them out. And then the last minute come in and, save the day. Oh, there's only 7 of you left. Well, I'll get you guys out now and we'll rebuild and bring you back. Something like that. I think that is that I could see at least. At least I could see that. So otherwise, I don't know. I don't know how you do it, I guess is my point. I'm not sure. Missy says, please share this out to all your friends and followers. Let everyone know that Larry's live right now. Thanks. She's right. Guys, if you haven't clicked that button, I know I bug you. Why do I bug you? Because I'm bored? No. I bug you because I am horribly banned the shadow way. You know what that means. So that's happened to me. It's been happening to me. How do I get around that? By a whole lot of likes. A whole lot of those. Click them. It does matter. If you like it, do so. And also by a whole lot of sharing. So if you can, please click that button known as like. Share if you would. It does matter. Follow me on all the things I tell you to follow. Please do so. Everyone does count. If you want to get your chat to the front and support the show, super chat me. Super chat me on YouTube or rant me on Rumble. Either of those two is great. If you want to really support, become a member. Membership does have benefits. Members, I try to grab their comments first when I can. And they get to have a membership only show, which will happen probably at end of this month, beginning of next month. You can come on, you'll chat with me here on the show. And not just that, you also get to send me videos that I will react to when I have time. You guys sent me a lot recently. So I'm going to go through them. And you've seen some reaction videos that I've done. That's because you guys have sent them to me. That's where I get them from. So membership does matter. If you can, please do that. Click that join button on YouTube, on Sharpe YouTube, and become a member, $49 per month. It is absolutely, it's the same price as a cup of coffee. Come on now. I'm worth some coffee. I hope so, at least. In any case, thank you for that, Missy. I do appreciate it. So, yes, let me grab some more of these if I can. All righty. Let me grab here. Oh, hold on. Phil's is talking to that little lady. She says, Nick Sarwark was going specifically to people in the Mises Institute and asked them to sign an anti-racism pledge, insinuating that they were racist. Yeah, I remember that stuff. Yeah. What wound up happening in that whole time was just a whole bunch of virtue signaling, which helped no one. Absolutely, which helped absolutely no one. You're absolutely right. Yes. All righty. Morgan says, we have to bomb them to free them. Neocons, probably. Yes. We bomb them because we love them. Can you not feel them? This is going to hurt us more than it's going to hurt you as we bomb you. Yes, it's correct. It's yeah, that's kind of what it is. I completely agree. So, all righty. Let me grab a couple of these. Morgan says, wait, Mike has sources? How dare. I know, it's way better to just announce stuff without sources. That's a lot more fun, Morgan. It is. Just announcing stuff. It is a whole lot easier to just announce things with no sources. I agree with you. It makes things a lot more fun, interesting. I'm just gonna say stuff. So yes. All righty. Joel says Clinton made warmonger money. True. There we go. True. All righty. Mike says it. He says Washington Post, Newsweek, most international media reported connection October 2024. Iran, of course, denied it, and media moved on shortly after as they did not want to focus on hostages. Well, there we go. I had a feeling Mike would have an answer to that one. I had a feeling. So, yeah, there we go. That's something right there. All right, let me grab a quick super chat if I could. Phil says, thank you for $2. Does Trump's local knowledge influence Gaza? You know, I go back to, it's going to be a little bit awkward, but I hope you'll get what I'm talking about. The Philippines. The Philippines was an American colony. And we were not amazingly great to the Filipinos. But compared to the Spanish, we were great. Compared to the Spanish. Colonizing is never a good thing, but if you have a choice of who would I want to be colonized by, if you were Filipino, you would have preferred the Americans, right? So I got to ask the Gazans, who would they prefer to be colonized by? If you're going to be, I know it sounds horrible, but I make fun of it because I recognize how horrible it is and how nothing I say is going to change it. And that sometimes makes people angry, like they want me to virtue signal. But virtue signaling doesn't do anything except make people feel better without fixing anything. The reality of it is the Gazans are not going to be on their own. That's not a thing anymore. That's not going to happen. So if Mike is correct and the Iranians set up October 7th, that was one of the dumbest things they could have ever done because they've lost Hamas permanently. I mean, not permanently, but realistically, right? For at least the next, I don't know, generation or more. And if, and there's a massive if on this one, if Donald Trump's able to set up Gaza to where it is actually prosperous, I don't know if that's true. I'm making this up. If he could do that, Hamas would go away. That'd be the end of it. It'd go away. Because there'd be, as Mao said, the revolutionaries, they're the fish that swim in the water that is the people, right? If the people don't want them, they can't exist because they're the ones defending them, right? So if it becomes actually prosperous, people go, I don't want these guys here. My kids are going to school. I'm making money. I'm having family and friends. That Trump hotel ain't so bad. I'm a dealer in the blackjack table making bank, right? Whatever. So they're fine, right? So if that happens. So could it work? Yes. Will it? I don't know. And the other part is, you know, if you're, I don't know the Gazan mentality well enough to know that they may say, no masters, I don't care who it is. They might be there. If they're there, they may pick no master. And that means I don't care who colonizes me, I'm fighting. Or they might be so burned out that they see hope in Trump and go, fine. If I get some hope, that I'll take this one. And I think people have done both in the past. So I'm actually not sure. Thank you for that, Phil. But I could see either one of those. I definitely could see either one of those. Yes. Mana Threat says Larry should have thousands of listeners. True. And I used to. Back in 2019, before the ban known as Shadow hit me, when I said, I was saying this the other day. Some of you probably remember when I said it. There's a part of me that regrets me having principles. And that sounds funny, but it's true. There's a part of me that goes, why didn't I just not talk about the lockdowns? Just not talk about it. Just do something else and just not speak up. Just not do it. And I wouldn't be banned right now. I'd be getting those thousands of viewers. I would be, because that's what banned me. The second I told them about that, they were like, oh, turn it down. Get rid of it. It was overnight. So there's a part of me that goes, I should have just shut up. There's a part of me that's like, no, I did the right thing, and I'm happy I did. So I get torn sometimes when I threat, because I think that's sometimes what got me. Getting wrecked from that. 6 years, and it hasn't returned. 5 years, hasn't returned. Has not returned. And I've been trying. You see me doing the work. You see me doing this. I'm trying. I'm bugging you guys constantly. Like, share, comment. And you see some of these shows, they get tons of comments and likes and just don't grow. I don't know what to do. It does make me want to quit sometimes. It does. It's challenging for me, but I got to keep going, man. I'm going to keep going. So, yes. All right, let me grab a couple more of these if I can. Andrea says, being on the show was a lot of fun. You should be a member and you're on the show. Andrea is a member and has been on the show. She's right. Yes. Ken says, Gary Johnson got 5.7% in Oklahoma, which is pretty amazing in this state. The only hope the LP might be is a Spike Sharpe ticket. Not bad. Not bad. I like it. Look, back in the day, I was the one telling him to focus on his home state, New Mexico. Because for those of you who don't know, Gary Johnson used to be the governor of New Mexico. I was like, focus on your own state. They didn't listen to me. They did. We're going to do a 50-state plan. Does not work. 50-state plan does not work at all. But we do it every time. Kim was a member. Thank you for being a member. Wow, I'm real late. It's been so good day. It's been a bit so good day. Okay. I like that. I'm glad you had a good day. I love it. My VA lady over on Rumble says, thank you for the $1. If you shut up, Larry, they win. True. Never shut up. We take our Liberty lead from you. All right. See, you've just answered the question. All right. So Liberty lady has explained that I should. Yeah. Okay. I'm with you. I agree. I agree. We're good. All right. Let me see if I can get another one here. This is Phil says, is Gaza policy affected by praise of Gulf states? Yes. Look, the reality of it is, and Trump has said this, believe it or not, he said this. He literally said that the states are wealthy. He said they have money. They have lots of money, and they can help out. Yes, I think that the Gulf states do matter. If they jump on board and actually try to make things happen, it can make things better. Not just that, look, I don't mean to sound trite, but there is something about fellow Muslims, right? It'd be the same thing with fellow Christians or fellow Jews, right? If Trump comes in, well, he's seen as the big Christian. If the Israelis come in, well, they're the Jews. But if, like, I don't know, Qatarians or Saudis come in, at least they're Muslims, right? So, and Hamas and Saudis are the same type of Muslim. So that would be helpful. They would understand more, feel more connected. I think I think it does matter a lot. A lot. If they're on board with this, it helps. And one of the reasons why, this is one of the things, most people don't know this. One of the issues that is slowing down a peace in the Middle East is a lot of the Gulf states really do want some answer for the Palestinian people. They want an answer, which does not include going to their own countries. They don't want that. They want some form of Palestinian state. Is what they want. Netanyahu wants no Palestinian state. That's the biggest issue. Trump has to find an answer, and that's not an easy answer, which is why I'm saying this is not going to be an easy thing. He has to find an answer that will keep the Israelis satisfied and the Saudis satisfied. That is not going to be an easy task. Doesn't mean it can't be done, but it is a difficult task because they have to also trust each other. That's going to work. But yes, to answer your question, look, the Saudis just agreed to buy like $1 trillion worth of stuff from us. They could do that. They have that kind of cash. The Qataris have that kind of cash. They have the kind of money it would take to rebuild this. to rebuild Gaza. If anyone can pay to rebuild Gaza, it's them, right? Of course. And the best part is American contractors cannot wait to get that Saudi money. They're like, when can we get that Saudi money? They cannot wait. They absolutely cannot wait. Now, next piece. If you got to build all this stuff, well, number one, that's jobs for local people, which is great, jobs for them, but not just that. While those Russians and Ukrainian soldiers won't go back to working for $200 a month at a gas station, they will go build a bunch of Trump towers. They will go do that for $3,000 a month. They will. And it's not as though easily pay $3,000 a month to keep those guys doing that and not doing something else. 100%. So even if that happens, you now get those guys now doing that instead, right? So even that helps. 100% yes. Monkey see, monkey do. Thank you for the 690. The FTC is asking for comments on this right now, closer tomorrow. Google requests for public comments regarding technology platform censorship. Oh, I wasn't aware of that. No, I did hear that. I think I was traveling. I did hear that. All right, guys, if you want to put that in quotes, request for public comments regarding technology platform censorship, and you want to put your public comment out, you should do it now. I'm going to consider that too. Let's see if I can connect that out also. So do you happen to know what time that's closing, Monkey? Is it like midnight tonight or something like that? Or no? Let us know. It's not a bad idea. Mike has bad knees, has become a member. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. All membership matters. I do appreciate it. Thank you so much. We are rocking and rolling. That's awesome. All righty. Let's see if I can go down here. Morgan says, your efforts are shown in your continuous fight for liberty, Larry. Oh, thank you, guys. I appreciate that. I am trying. It can be a pain. Yes, it can be a pain. Liberty says, hey, word on the street is Larry's going on another podcast this Thursday night. It's true. And it is the Black Powder Podcast. It's true. You can check that out if you want to. The Black Powder Podcast. I'll be on Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern. Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern, I will be on the Black Powder Podcast. Check me out there. I'll talk about something cool, I guess. I'm not sure what, but something cool. I'll figure it out. I will figure it out. So Mike says, even more frustrating, 15 plus years on YouTube, suppressed since well before 2020, though it got worse. Very hard being Black, Hispanic, not Democrat. That's true. Oh, yes, with unapproved ideas. Yeah, how dare you have the wrong think for the color of your skin, Mike? How dare you? Audience like / share and subscribe is vital. 100%. It's the only way to get around it. It is. Unless I like literally go and like have my own website somehow, which is a beast. And then I drove into that website. It's a beast. Yeah. So grab through here if I could. And Renegade Apples. Thank you for becoming a member. Yes, more members. Thank you guys. One less coffee, but you'll be okay. You'll be okay. Right. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, absolutely. Matt Morgan says, Larry, you mean a two-state solution? It could be that. I think that's what most of the Gulf states want. But I think they'd be open to not that if there was some answer, right? That would keep. I think they'd even be open to some kind of semi-autonomous thing if they believed it could actually exist. That's the issue. Trust is the issue, Morgan. Would they actually believe that some type of semi-autonomous Israeli protectorate could exist? Only if they believed it. And boy, history has not been good with that. So you'd have to have some serious guarantees, like maybe America oversees it or something. I mean, maybe put American troops there so Israelis can't go. I don't know. I don't know how you do that, Morgan. So I assume it's a two-state solution. But what I know is if there could be a way to have a believed, and that's the key, believed somehow Israeli protectorate, I think they would accept it. They want to find an answer. That does not mean them going to their own place. So, yes. There we go. All right. Mike goes on to say, if people go to the FTC public page, comments can be submitted directly and not blocked by Google/Watch. Oh, there we go. Thank you for that. And then he puts the page there. Look at Mike killing it tonight, man. Thank you. There we go. And Monkey See, Monkey Do says it closes May 21. Okay, so there we go. So we can do this. There we go. There we go. I like that. So Phil says I should talk about Dexter Taylor. It's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea. Yes. I like that. I may consider that. I like that, Phil. That's not bad. I'm gonna consider that one. So, alrighty. Let's see. Mike has Benny says need more clickbait. You guys get mad whenever I do clickbaity stuff. I'm trying to be more clickbaity without being silly, but I am trying, right? I'm trying to be more clickbaity without being silly. That's the issue. It can be challenging. It can be challenging. Matt says need those goofy gasping faces and everything. You know what? We were talking about that literally today. A bunch of I'm like, right? All those like, I gotta do those pictures and then put them in every thumbnail. Yeah, like Mr. Beast always has like his mouth open, like, I can't believe it on everyone. I'm gonna do that. Everyone's gonna be like, I can't believe it. Larry can't believe what's happening. He's shocked at what he's saying. You'll be shocked too at what Larry's saying. I could try that. That would be something to do. All right, I gotta consider that now. See, Matt, okay, if it doesn't work, I'm just gonna blame you. That's it. I'm just gonna blame you. So easy. I feel better. I feel better about myself already, Matt. There we go. So I'm looking over at Rumble, and I see my BA lady says, Larry, can you mention what you learned about your ads on the rewatch of YouTube, and that you've changed it so hopefully more watch? Yes, I did not realize. I did not realize how many ads are being put in the rewatch. I didn't know that. I put conservative, meaning the least amount of ads. And YouTube said, oh, you mean all the ads? And I went, no, that's not, I did not, I meant the opposite of that. It went, okay, so the most ads possible? No, I would like not the most ads possible. They went, great, so the most ads possible? Literally. So I'm going to have to make some changes and make some shifts because, wow, was YouTube throwing ads in it? And I guess that's good, but no, I have to. Yeah, absolutely. So Mike says, nobody that watches this channel would believe you are shocked by any news recently, Larry. True, but you guys are already watching. So I got to get the people who wouldn't believe it go, oh my God, there's some shock dude in a bunker. And so we should watch him. So I got to try that, I guess. I think that might be the issue. But what we can do, regardless of whether I do the shock face or not, is we can click the button known as like Lima, India, Kilo, Echo. Please click that button if you would. Also, share and repost this now if you could. Every share, put it into a Facebook page, put it someplace, all good. If you haven't followed me already on Sharpe Way, Facebook, X, and Rumble, please do so. We're looking for more Larry Sharpe followers on Rumble. We're at about 450. We're trying to get to 500 if we can. So if you can do that, it'd be great. If you have not yet, please subscribe to Sharpe Way YouTube, and make sure you click all notifications. I do appreciate that. As always, I have members. Pop those members on to the best of your ability. It does matter. Why do members matter so much? Members matter a lot. And they matter because if you're a member, as I said, you get to submit reaction videos. That's a good deal. That is a good deal. Not just that, you get to come on the show. That's a good deal. Not just I try to grab all your comments. That's 3 good deals in a row. So not too shabby. But also remember, guys, with the new algorithm, please put a comment underneath. Please put a comment underneath after this is over, right? So after this is over, please put a comment. And here's what I want to ask you. Please be honest. What do you think about CNN now versus before? Some of you had new CNN before. Has it changed? Has it not changed? Is it better? Is it worse? What do you think of CNN now versus before? Please put that in the comments once this is over. And if you are watching this and it's not live, you're watching it later on, hopefully there's that many ads. I'll try to fix that if I can. You see videos pop up right here. Please click on one of them and watch for at least 8 minutes. They like that too. I will see you all very soon.